Hey everybody, this is Skillfully. I just wanted to remind you guys once again, in case you missed the update video, that the contest, the Scare My Friends Lost Episode contest, due date has been moved from December 9th to December 23rd, giving you guys an additional 2 weeks. I discussed this in the update video, but the reason I made the change is ultimately for the holidays. I was bogged down by the holidays, and I'm sure many of you guys have also been bogged down by the holidays. And so my early Christmas gift to you is an additional 2 weeks to get your contest entries in. If you haven't listened to the update video yet, I highly recommend you do if you have any interest in joining the contest. If not, then ignore what I'm saying right now and just enjoy Scare Your Friends. Tonight we are going to be doing Pale Luna and Wilderness. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scare Your Friends. My name is John, aka Skillfully, and I am joined by my two friends today. Tonight, we have Dylan and Danielson. What's going on with you two?
Everybody calls me that lately. It's weird.
Yeah, you're Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, I wish I was as cool and talented as Ralph Macchio.
I mean, you could be in that new online series, Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
You could.
Which, by the way, this week sponsored Cobra Kai on YouTube Red. Please check that. No, I mean, I'm good. What about you, Dylan?
I'm good. Started school. So.
Oh, yeah, what's actually happened since we last put down the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might get a job soon. Dylan's starting college again.
And we're back in our old first recording space for this one, which is, it's weird. It's nostalgic.
I thought Dylan's room was our first recording space.
Yes, it was.
Maybe? I don't know.
I
This is the one that we primarily...
For our first recording space, what we did was we took the microphone, when we did Normal Porn for Normal People, we took a PlayStation box, stacked it on an Xbox box, and put the microphone on top of it. And it was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done in my life, because I just bought the microphone that day. Really stupid of me. Don't ever do that.
Nah, that's how you start.
I mean, you improvise, yeah. I mean, you make do with what you have.
Anyway. It's been a while since we touched haunted gaming, and for a good reason. Because a lot of haunted gaming is shithouse.
Yeah.
I think the last one was Pokémon Strangled Red.
The last and only one
we did, yeah.
Yeah,
Was
I haven't...
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
But this time we're doing something a little bit different. This is a story called Pale Luna. This is the only haunted gaming story, aside from the Godzilla NES story, that is on the recommended reading list for creepypasta.wiki.
That's part of the literary canon for Creepypasta, if you will.
What does that mean?
Right, never mind.
The sass.
Somebody out there might get that.
I guess.
Someone.
Okay.
I don't know one.
Not us.
This is a very short story. It is actually so short that I might include a second story on top of it called Wilderness, which is a smaller...
Well, now we have to do it, so...
No, I can cut it out. Right. You guys can't hear this.
You know, John, every time you go, this is a shorter story, so we probably will do another one. These are the stories we talk about for like an hour and a half.
We'll see. I honestly don't know how you're going to react to this one.
Okay.
Because I wanted to try to get haunted gaming stories that try to go in a different direction. Because occasionally, more like, sometimes you'll find a diamond in the shitstorm. Someone will attempt to take haunted gaming and turn it into something different.
I don't think that's...
For example, there is...
Storm, but
we did that Pokemon Creepypasta story.
Yes.
Strangled Red.
An Undercooked Analysis a long time ago, like a year ago, did a Pokemon contest where you had to write a Pokemon Creepypasta story. Not to brag, I got third place. But I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about my story.
Not to brag, but humble brag.
But humble brag.
Humble brag.
But I'm actually going to talk about Beth's story, which got first place.
Oh shit!
And I'm going to quickly describe what the story is. Basically, it's the story about.
She kicked us to the curb.
Yes. She didn't kick us to the curb.
I'm just joking.
No, but her story was about this mother who's struggling to make ends meet, and her son really, really wants a Game Boy and Pokemon.
Sounds like everyday life.
Yeah.
So she gets him the Pokemon game after struggling to make ends meet, and it's like really hard for her to do it, but she gets this kid a Game Boy for Christmas and Pokemon. But he gets disappointed because he got the blue one instead of the red one.
What, because it's sad?
He didn't get the one with Charizard on it, he got the blue one. And the mother freaks out, she blacks out, and the kid disappears.
So why aren't we reading that story today?
I'm just saying.
Wow, use a dick.
Because it's their contest, and I didn't want to take their stories.
All right, fair
But
enough.
I will link Beth's Pokemon Creepypasta story in the description.
Cool.
I mean, you can also read mine, which is far less superior, and honestly, I don't know how it got third place. Mine is...
Humble brag.
I mean, I'll genuinely
By
would
John.
like to read both of them, but okay.
Mine is a lot different.
Stop selling yourself.
Well, whatever. Anyway, this is Pale Luna. And I think this author attempted... First of all, the author's...
Ed?
It's just Ed.
It's just Ed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mr. Ed.
Ed and Eddie.
And
Yeah.
Ed and Eddie.
What?
I believe there is an Ed and Eddie creepypasta.
You never seen.
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always the... No, it's like... Well, no, it's not. It's like either a lost episodes kind of thing, or it's
Yeah.
like the true meaning behind Ed and Eddie. Or it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they're
yeah.
all actually dead.
Let's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
not say we did do that.
Yeah. Well, we will eventually when
it's
we
like the-
really run out of ideas.
We're not
True
pulling
that.
Rugrats with this
When we
one.
really are like, we have the butter knife and we're scraping the very bottom of the jar, like, and there's nothing. Like, it's licked clean. You could see from one end to the other, but we're still just like, no, come on, there's got to be a little bit more in there. Yeah.
Damn, that
Yeah.
was visually vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of jar are we talking? Like a
I
peanut
don't know,
butter jar?
whatever you want to do.
I
It's-
can't believe-
as an author, as the one who painted the metaphor, I leave that to your imagination. You always want to leave a little bit for
I
the
think of
reader.
a jiffy.
I'm
nice
imagining
jiffy
like a tin of I can't believe it's not butter.
That's interesting. That's different. I like that.
Yeah, you can't see through the bottom because it's opaque.
Oh, wow. Fucking calling you out,
Dude,
John.
we are getting
You
deep.
stupid asshole.
How dare I?
How dare you? How dare you?
All right, well,
How
let's get
dare
on
I?
to reading.
Yes, let's do it.
This is, wow, we're only 6 minutes in. We're actually reading the story.
That's
This is
actually, yeah, I was about to say, it's pretty.
It's a
pretty short
miracle for us.
Well, there's three of us, so
That's
Yeah,
true.
I guess.
All right, so without further ado, this is Pale Luna. In the last decade and a half, it's become infinitely easier to obtain exactly what you're looking for by the way of a couple of keystrokes. The internet has made it all too simple to use a computer to change reality. An abundance of information is merely a search engine away, to the point where it's hard to imagine life as any different. Yet, a generation ago, when the words streaming and torrent were meaningless, save for conversations about water, people met face-to-face to conduct software swap parties, trading games and applications on Sharpie-labeled 5¼ inch floppies. Of course, most of the time, the meets were a way for frugal, community-minded individuals to trade popular games like King's Quest and Maniac Mansion among themselves. However, a few early programming talents designed their own computer games to share amongst their circle of acquaintances, who in turn would pass it on, until, if fun and well-designed enough, an independently developed game had its place in a collection of... what the...
Aficionados.
Wow, I can't believe I didn't say that word right. Aficionados
It's
across
the
the
inside.
country. Think of it as the 80s equivalent of a viral video. So this is taking place in the 80s, baby.
The 80s or early 90s, yeah.
that sounds like an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, wow.
And I did do a little bit of research into it, and yes, this is true.
Oh, it is an Adam
Yeah,
Sandler
I mean,
movie,
I already like the setup for this. We were born in this generation, so we didn't really get to experience that kind of...
Yeah, we were. I mean, I was born in '94,
Yeah.
so it's hard. So like, I was raised in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So
We're sort of like, I feel like we're on the cusp. Like, we didn't. It would be interesting to experience something like this because we're all familiar with digital media.
we're the only ones who are
What's-
familiar with digital media, and yet still find it appalling that little kids have iPhones.
Right. But shit like this is interesting. I would have loved to have seen stuff like this or been a part of stuff like this where rather than just uploading something on the internet, you hang out with people and you're like, oh, here's,
I made this.
here's like a 3-minute video on a floppy disk that I made. Yeah, it's interesting. I like that. That thought like never even crossed my mind that people would do that. That's cool. All right.
Dan, why don't you take over?
Sure. Pale Luna, on the other hand, was never circulated outside of the San Francisco Bay Area. All known copies have been long disposed of. All computers that have ever run the game now detritus buried under layers of filth and polystyrene. Jesus Christ. I'm fucking whiffing today, too. This fact is attributed to the number of rather abstruse design choices made by its programmer. Pale Luna was a text adventure in the vein of Zork and the Lurking Horror at a time when said genre was swiftly going out of fashion. Upon booting the program, the player was presented with the screen almost completely blank except for the text.
How about this? For the rest of the story, there's going to be some text. Whenever you see text, Dylan read. And read kind of like a stereotype, like narrator, I guess. Like, you are
in a dark room. Moonlight shines through the window. There is gold in the corner, along with a shovel and a rope. There is a door to the east. Command.
So began the game that one writer for a long out-of-print fanzine decried as enigmatic, nonsensical, and completely unplayable, as the only commands that the game would accept were pick up gold, pick up shovel, pick up rope, open door, and go east. The player was soon presented with the following.
Reap your reward. Pale Luna smiles at you. You are in a forest. There are paths to the north, west, and east. Command.
So there are, sort of detouring a little bit. There are games like this that are still being made. I have like 3 of them on my phone. I love shit like this. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I love, but I find games like these fascinating, especially if they're written well. Where you just like type in commands and it's like a text-based adventure.
Sounds boring.
It depends. Again, it depends on the subject matter, but
yeah.
What quickly infuriated the few who've played the game was the confusing and buggy nature of the second screen onward. Only one of the directional decisions would be the correct one. For example, on this occasion, a command to go in a direction other than north would lead to the system freezing, requiring the operator to hard reboot the entire computer. Further, any subsequent screens seem to merely repeat the above text, with the difference being only the directions available. Worse still, the standard text adventure commands appeared to be useless. The only accepted non-movement related prompts were use gold, which caused the game to display the message.
Not here.
Use shovel, which brought up.
Not now.
And use rope, which prompted the text.
You've already used this.
Okay.
Most who played the game progressed a couple of screens into it before becoming fed up by having to constantly reboot and tossing the disc in disgust, writing off the experience as a shoddy programmed farce. However, there is one thing about the world of computers that remains true. No matter the error, some people who use them have way too much time on their hands. A young man by the name of Michael Nevins decided to see if there was more to Pale Luna than what met the eye. 5 hours and 33 screens worth of trial and error and unplugged computer cords later, he finally managed to get the game displayed differently. The text in this new area read,
Pale Luna smiles wide. There are no paths. Pale Luna smiles wide. The ground is soft. Pale Luna smiles wide. Here. Command?
It was another hour still before Nevin stumbled upon the proper combination of phrases to make the game progress any further. Dig hole, drop gold, and then fill hole. This caused the screen to display.
Congratulations, 40.24248. Negative 121.4434.
Oh, fuck.
Upon which the game ceased to accept commands, requiring the user to reboot one last time.
Did you know what those are?
No.
Those are longitude and latitude coordinates. That's what I'm guessing, but I believe that's what that is. Those are degrees.
Yeah,
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah.
So this is cool. Sort of there have been sort of
it's a treasure hunt.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there have been like
Mr. Cage, where are you?
Yes.
Mr. Cage? Nick Cage is not here.
Still the Declaration of Independence. Which, by the way, happy birthday to Keanu Reeves. In the same vein. Anyway, no. There have been other like stories and like movies and stuff that I've read that have stuff like this where you figure out a puzzle and it's like you got to go to this place and there's another mystery.
Dude.
But I can't imagine like like we always hear about this day and age, like you read stuff on like Destructoid or Polygon or whatever, where it's like this person found this secret after 20 years, or like somebody data mined this game and found a whole bunch of unused content. I can't imagine sitting there. These people, they pull out the code of the game and they look through every line, which is, I would imagine, is incredibly time consuming. But I can't imagine sitting there and unplugging and replugging in my computer every time the fucking game freezes to figure out how to beat it. I'd kill myself.
You're just a loser.
Wow, Jesus. Wow, shots fucking fired.
My God. After some deliberation, Nevins came to the conclusion that the numbers referred to lines of latitude and longitude.
There you go.
The coordinates led to a point in a sprawling forest that dominated the nearby Lassen Volcanic Park. I read Lincoln Park.
Oh.
Lincoln Volcanic Park.
It hurts.
As he possessed much more free time than sense.
Clearly.
I don't like that. Does that make sense?
It does.
As he possessed more free time than sense.
And he doesn't have
Oh, I
sense,
see. Nevins vowed to see Pale Luna through to its ending.
The next day, armed with a map, a compass, and a shovel, he navigated the park's trails, noting with amusement how each turn he made corresponded roughly to those that he took in the game. Oh boy. Though he initially regretted bringing the cumbersome digging tool on a mere hunch, the past similarity all but confirmed his suspicion that the journey would end with him face to face with an eccentric's buried treasure. Out of breath after a tricky struggle to the coordinates, he was pleasantly surprised by a literal stumble upon a patch of uneven dirt. Shoveling as excitedly as he was, it would be an understatement to say that he was taken aback when his heavy strokes unearthed the badly decomposed head of a blonde-haired little girl. Nevins promptly reported the situation to the authorities. The girl was identified as Karen Paulson, 11, reported as missing in the San Diego Police Department a year and a half prior. Efforts were made to track down the programmer of Pale Luna, but the nearly anonymous legal gray area in which the software swapping community operated inescapably led to many dead ends. Collectors have been known to offer upwards of 6 figures for an authentic copy of the game. The rest of Karen's body was never found.
And that was Pale Luna. A haunted game that a story about a haunted game that was a little bit different than you were expecting, probably. So what were your thoughts on Pale Luna?
Luna was pale, so...
This is wonderful. Very, 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 very sharp, witty commentary, Dylan. Thank you.
What gave you that idea?
Oh, boy.
Here we go with the story.
So, I like this. I liked how simple it was. And I feel like we haven't done a lot of haunted gaming, but I feel like something like this, or the way you were describing Beth's story... Haunted gaming, I feel like, on the very limited knowledge that I have, again, I feel like works when you're not doing something like Pokémon Strangled Red, where there is a conflict centered around a video game or whatever, but it's not the game itself that is the conflict. You understand what I'm saying? Like Strangled Red is... it's a haunted game cartridge, but nothing really happens. Something actually happens in this story. A little girl is murdered or whatever, and they never find the killer. But the way they find her is through the game. So I like that. I don't like when
the horror is just
when the horror is the game, because it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not scary, right? Yeah, Strangled Red is not scary. It's dumb. This is interesting and spooky because it has real world implications.
Sounds like it's good. It just sounds like an opening to like one of those crime TV shows.
Kind of like SVU.
I think of Criminal Minds when I think of it because they have the. Forgive me if I slander anyone's name, but I don't know the name, but like the character, he's like very smart. And he can figure out mostly what's going on. And it sounds like he's like on a computer trying to figure out what's going on. And that's how they find the little girl's, severed head. So it was not severed. Oh, yeah.
It was.
Severed head, yeah. And that's what it kind of leads into. It's like this more continuous... There's more to it, even though they shouldn't continue it. But it's like it leads on a cliffhanger. Like, will they find the guy?
Right.
We will never know.
Right.
Which is good. Because last time we saw with a 6-part story, let's not do that.
Well,
what do you mean the 6-part story?
You're talking about Pen Pal? You're talking about
No, the other one.
Yeah, okay.
Which one?
The one that never came out.
The one that shall not be named. That shall be nameless.
Oh, the one that's buried in the cave. Like this was.
No,
buried.
not even the cave.
Not
Lost
the cave.
in the showers somewhere in Nebraska.
Oh, I don't even want to mention that.
Yeah, exactly. No.
We're gonna put like a little bleep when that way you don't have to be buried with that.
No, I like. Yeah, no, I agree. But okay, here's my question: why Pale Luna? Why
The
that
name?
name? Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
I think.
May I?
Yeah.
They found the girl's name was Luna, correct?
It was
No,
Karen,
Karen,
but okay.
but hold on. Continue without me.
Hold objection. The girl's name was Luna.
No,
it
I
was
messed
Karen.
up.
Hold on.
I messed up.
Give me a second here.
You know what it was? I saw Paulson, and I'm thinking of Pale for some reason. I'm like, whoops.
I mean, all right.
You know what?
Honestly, though, I do side with Dylan a little bit.
What?
My bad.
Because a girl's face that's been buried in the dirt would be a bit pale. So, and
I was trying to get at that.
Luna, like
Luna, maybe lunar,
night,
under the moon.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just the name of a game, honestly. I mean,
I guess, but they're
like, what do you want it to be called? Like,
okay. But here's the problem with that, because you'd be like, oh, it's just the name of the game, but it's a choice.
It's a choice. Better name.
It's a
than
choice.
Pokemon Strangled Red.
Well, it's a choice the author made, but John, you're also forgetting Pale Luna is the only character in the game besides the player character.
Oh,
so
yeah,
what is
like Pale Luna smiles.
Pale Luna, so what the who
it's
or
like
what the fuck is Pale Luna?
Right. Or it's the killer.
Right.
Maybe the killer calls himself Pale Luna or herself.
But why? That's the only thing.
A serial killer kills a small child.
It's
and then
a
makes
mystery.
A game, because this is what had to have happened.
Right.
This person killed a child, made a game that was almost impossible to solve, and said, this is you
Was
can
he
find
the fucking Riddler.
Exactly.
He was Edward Nygma.
No, it would have been interesting to get some kind of hint on why Pale Luna. That's the only thing. That would be my biggest critique of the story, because it's a name.
I'd be
we don't
afraid
really
if they
know.
added more to it, though, because I think
yeah.
Because it's not like anyone else would know exactly what in this scenario. Hold on. Water went down the wrong one pipe. Not my one pipe. Dylan is still looking through the story.
No, because it's I'm looking up.
Here we go.
Because it said game, actual game.
Yeah, you.
And on Games Radar, they're saying like the top urban. They're calling it an urban legend.
Yeah.
That will not, and it's like, it won't make you sleep at night. It's like,
I was going to get to this at the end, but if you actually Google Pale Luna and actually look through all the searches, there is like.
Technically, Slenderman's an urban legend.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos about it.
terrible movie.
There's theories about it being real. There's cheap IMDb movies from 2016 called Pale Luna.
I passed that. I was like, ugh.
There's a game. I mean, people have recreated the game similar to what you do with something like, what is it called? Shit. Fuck. Well, I can't remember the name of something. I'm gonna put it on screen. That's how pissed I am. Okay, it's on screen, so you at home know what I'm thinking. Let's see how long it takes me to think of it, though, as Dan talks more about the story.
I mean, I really don't have much more to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's a short story.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the simplicity of it.
Honestly, it's interesting that most of the short stories we've read are like we never really trash them that much. It's always the short ones that kind of
yeah.
Or at least the ones I've picked so far.
For the most part, yeah. There have been a couple of shitty ones though.
But like I said, and again, I'm not a professional writer, and Dan's a writing. He got a major in English, but I don't think he knows a couple of things.
I know
about
things
writing.
about stuff.
But I think 101 about writing a short story like this is when you start, you know how you're going to end.
Yeah.
And this, I think, once again, it's really apparent when the writer has the ending in mind as they are writing. They have it all outlined.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Same thing with like the thing that stalks the fields.
Right. Yeah. Well, that I feel like we talked about that in the thing that stalks the fields, where we have these stories that that there's an idea, but they don't know how to end, or they don't really know what to write, and they just have the image or the idea. This one again, it seems like it's following all the way through. It's not too crazy. There's just enough, and it's super simple.
All right, so why don't we read another one?
Sure.
I mean, I can keep talking about Pale Luna, but honestly, it is one of the most well-known creepypasta stories out there, and there is a lot of fanfare about it, so there really isn't much more I could say. You can look into it yourselves if you like.
We should study the lore.
All right.
of Luna Pale.
Okay, so the next story we're going to read is a creepypasta called Wilderness, a much lesser-known story. Let me get the author out, if there even is an author. There actually is a little bit of artwork in the story.
Storm Lily is the author.
What is it?
Storm Lily.
Storm Lily.
All one word.
Okay. One way that certain authors will make their stories more realistic is they will add images. I'm not going to say don't read anything, but as you scroll through, you will see pixelated images of a game. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, I picked this story not because I necessarily think it's amazing, but because I like the direction and the unique idea behind it. I think this is a little bit different than what we've read before. I don't even know if I would even classify it as a story. It's very interesting. Okay. In fact, it's so interesting that before I start reading, I'm going to start with a little preamble.
Okay.
As we read this, I want you guys to imagine yourselves in a dimly lit press room. What are those called? Like where the press goes into an area.
What are they called, Dill?
A press room.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Thanks. You could have saved me 5 seconds. Well, you would imagine that you're in a press room. Everyone is clamored around with their cameras and their notebooks. And all of a sudden, a person walks in, and the room goes crazy. The guy sits down at the microphone. And this is Wilderness. This sort of mortal panic is just the sort of reason I hate talking to you people. That's right, you people. I'm a fucking rock star, and here you are talking down to me as if my game is the cause of your little tykes and their problems. Maybe if you were all better parents and teachers of the little larva, we wouldn't be having this conversation. For the last time, any problems your kids have with Wilderness are their fault, not mine. But the head of PR over at Marginal, that's our company for those of you who came in here just to get angry and lob accusations, told me I have to come down here personally and take care of damage control. So that's what I'm going to do. I guess you can consider this a question and answer session, and I'm sure by the time we're done, you'll all be able to leave happier and healthier, and we won't have to have this conversation ever again. First off, Lizzie, you mind turning on the projector? The one that was supposed to be the one that was supposed to be on when I got here? Okay. This is Wilderness. As you can see, the title screen, which is what you're looking at, isn't the warm and invite pastel barf of your Super Marios or your Pac-Mans. We all use a lot of colors to convey the feeling and splendor of nature. You know, the same splendor that your kids will be seeing in Wilderness instead of going outside to view it themselves. And if they happen to be outdoorsy little snuts right now, they won't be by the end.
Okay. So I like this Bob Ross painting that we have as an image.
Stop reading my fucking mind. For fuck's sake.
Is it really a Bob Ross painting?
It looks like it.
It's not.
It might be. I don't know.
I don't know. But
it looks like it.
There's too many bright pinks in it.
But what do you... Okay,
Dylan,
so I tried to...
You don't even know.
You know it's not.
You get a little bit of Leherzide Crimson. And
what?
Some Indian...
Some Leherzide what?
What the fuck? I forget how you pronounce it. You get some Crimson and you get some Indian Yellow in there and you brighten it up with a little bit of Titanium White and you put it on and you get some fluffy little clouds in there.
Okay, whatever. But what do you think of this so far?
That's a terrible PR guy if he's talking the way he is.
I think this I pick up a little bit of Slime Beast while I'm reading this, only because not even the term, not even in writing style, but the unconventionalness of the way the story is told. You see what I'm saying? I'm thinking of something like, the Abandoned by Disney series we've had, with the narrator sort of talking directly to us, right? Same kind of deal, same kind of setup. So I'm already interested in what we're reading. I'm curious to see how the conflict is conveyed and how this resolves this conversation of somebody yelling at a group of PR people.
Right, exactly. I tried to mimic that. Even my shaky voice kind of got into it a bit.
Just off the, how pissed off this guy is, if you're going to hate me, I think you know where I'm going to go with this.
I mean, sure.
It's probably him in his thoughts going like just seeing how it plays out if he yelled at it and then it goes back into reality okay, let's just get this over with.
I mean, sure.
You know how you see someone when when they, you see in a movie where they do the most outrageous things, like, slap people in the face, and then all of a sudden you found out it's just them, like, daydreaming. Like,
yeah, but if there's nothing to indicate that in the story, we can't just assume something.
Yeah,
like
I can
that.
just assume the guy has some sort of. I can just easily.
Because then we could just throw shit out there.
What if the guy has multiple personality disorder? Right. And
it's a little bit of a leap.
It's broad. It's a broad. Judgment, but it's just based on what I've seen.
Gotta base your interpretations on the text, man. Not your weird, trippy out there.
It's just one. It's one judgment. It's a broad judgment.
You're a judgment, Judgy Judgerson. What is that? What are you doing?
Keep going.
I don't know, man. I'm losing it. Wilderness is designed around the Amiga and DOS, though we build a Mac-compatible version after demand increased. Your goal is to survive in the wilderness. Simple enough. A lot of pundits accuse us of trying to bandwagon off the success of other public EDU games. Similarly to how many publishers are bandwagoning off of Myst. Jesus fucking Myst. Thing is, Wilderness is entirely its own beast. We don't have an end goal, or really any goal. The idea is to survive for as long as possible, and eventually die. Okay. It's like Oregon Trail, but intentional. Now I can hear some of you murmuring back there, but I went into game design because I felt the world had become too soft, too malleable. When I was a kid, discipline was something to expect, not expect the absence of. This is the 90s, people, and we're here with the edgiest, most realistic games imaginable to help your little children, and maybe even you yourselves, wake up out of the comfortable stupor you've been building around yourself for the last half century. It's this fucking guy, Tyler Durden.
What? Who the hell's Tyler Durden?
Oh, Christ, you didn't see Fight Club. Okay,
I didn't see Fight Club either.
Jesus! The both of you. I guess I know what we're doing after this. No, I like this. We're getting... it doesn't... This is sort of... not necessarily... what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, wow. We're all, like, really off our game today. Like, backstory... What's the word? Not backstory. When people overdo it. I can't think of the word. Shit. Fuck.
Overthink?
No, like, too much backstory.
Overcommitment?
No. Christ, Dylan, it's a literary term. Shit!
We've all been there.
I can't, fuck.
Someone's gonna
tell me afterwards.
Someone's gonna be watching this and be like, "It's this, you freaking morons."
Like, if this is your first episode watching, we promise we're not this stupid.
I bet you Kevin's gonna do it.
Probably.
How are we doing this? Come on, we gotta get our game. Nate's not even here.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just kidding.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's a joke.
It doesn't seem
You're
like
talking to the person related to the guy. Come on.
William's not even here to derail us constantly. Normally, William's here to derail us.
Oh yeah. I knew something was missing.
I can't think of the word. That's gonna annoy the shit out of me.
Look it up.
And I got me thinking about the word I was trying to think of earlier, like 20 minutes ago.
Which was?
Shut up! They know already. I put it up on the screen.
We're getting backstory without it being, like, overabundant. Like, it's portraying it in dialogue decently enough.
Prometheus!
What?
That's the word I was thinking of.
Wait. It's not a word. That's a name.
No, that's the... It's a. Have you two not heard of Prometheus before?
I know of the story of Prometheus.
There was a shitty prequel to the Alien movies.
Yeah.
No, the video game Prometheus.
No.
Oh. We might have to do that.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'm sorry I screamed there at the top of my lungs.
That's fine.
I'll just
do the same thing 20 minutes from now when I remember the word that I was looking for.
Well, we've derailed the story now.
Yeah,
Let's get back into the press box. The press room.
Okay, first round of questions. You there, Bolo Tie? Yes. I did used to work with ID, the people that made some of the most beloved games of all time. But Dylan, you're gonna have to take this one because it just reset my place.
Okay, first I'm just gonna repeat it.
Yeah.
Okay, first round of questions. You there, Bolo Tie? Yes, I did used to work with ID, but I can't say we parted on the best of terms. They wanted to focus on their dungeon crawling property, something they're working out with Raven. I don't know the details. We at Marginal wanted to focus on games with consequences. Actually, since we're talking all honest like here, I hate the term video game. What I want to create are consequence simulators.
Oh boy, here we go.
Mad Titan mother. My experiences at ID did give me an appreciation with tight level design, though. And when we move on to the demoing phase, I'm thinking of all you who've played games before will appreciate the smooth transitions Wilderness has to offer. Laughter directed at the... Oh, I should have read that. No, I'm not expecting you to play a full game here. Trust me, I want to get out of this room even more than you do.
Yeah, he's like laughing as he's talking to the audience, basically.
I wasn't...
It's alright, it's fine. It's hard
I shouldn't have read that out loud. Sorry.
That's why I tried to set it up the way I did, because it's like entirely first person, just like yelling at an audience.
That's actually a pretty good question to lead into the next segue, and get you some of the answers you're looking for. We were plagued with a lot of production problems during the development of Wilderness, and I won't pretend otherwise. A lot of the complaints you've got have been from the full motion video portions of the game, and I'll address those in due time. You wouldn't believe some of the shit we had to put up with.
On game start, you create your avatar, your in-game persona. We wanted it to be so that kids could first try to create it themselves. There are a lot of occupations, a lot of backgrounds, but just between you and me, none of them matter. Just like how none of your backgrounds matter. In the end, we put them in to create a sense of attachment between the players and their characters. Since we couldn't really customize the look of the player too much, we rely on this to build a sense of feeling that this isn't just some nameless shithead, this is you. You're greeted by our actors, all FMV. We've got about 10? Is that right? Yeah, 10 people the player can choose to bring with them, but they can only bring a total of 4 people. We were already developing on a strict deadline, so imagine if you had to refilm the same scene for every possible combination of people. It would have been impossible. You get some food, some clothes, and some tools for survival, and then are told to explore. Now, one criticism that we've got is that the land of Wilderness looks entirely the same. That's not the case. I can assure there are at least 1 or 2 different areas that look very, very different. But mostly, we opted to have the land look similar, to create a sense of loss and confusion. It's very rare to encounter anything, whether it be animals or other travelers. Naturally, just moving uses the in-game food statistic. Over time, we wanted to have our actors grow more and more emaciated. Did I say that right?
Emaciated?
Emaciated. And more depraved looking.
Desperate looking.
It was pretty rough convincing them to method act, if you will. Still, I think you could see the results. What is this, fucking No Man's Sky?
It's like a mix of Minecraft and No Man's Sky for some reason.
Wait, are we...
At first the mood.
Jesus Christ. At first, the mood of the group is optimistic. You've got no destination, no plan, but you have food, tools, friends. Then things start going sour. We've got in-game relationship counters between members of the group. Little things like who ate the most food last rest period, who scored the big kill while hunting, what religion or ethnicity the character is. Don't look so shocked. These things make people fearful, hateful, envious. In our world, they make people kill. Pretending otherwise is a sort of compromise on quality we in marginal games would never take. You will only get the most visceral, the most real from marginal games. Remember that. It's interesting to me because we take a lot of this stuff for granted as storytelling devices in games now. And this is shocking 30 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? No, but I get what they're trying to do. It's like, yeah, you have all these characters and they have... they don't like each other. They're in relationships and blah, 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 things. And people are like, oh, it's too real for a fucking DOS game. And it's like, every fucking game has this shit now. And nobody cares half the time.
Yeah.
Because your group does. For marginal games, remember that. Because your group does. My favorite part of the game is how you'll start to see your little group fragment in the camping scenes. 2 people on the right, 3 on the left. Suddenly, everyone is off by themselves, haggard and without food. You haven't seen an animal for days. You're hungry, starving. You've run out of fruit. You really don't like, say, the guy immediately to your right. Bolo tie. So, what do you do, right? Of course, we had a lot of historical inspiration for some of the actions that players can choose to take. So I don't want any criticism from any of you. Speaking honestly, again, you don't want to know what you're talking about.
So what's happening in the story is we can't hear it, but like the crowd is saying stuff to him as he's talking. Bolo Tai must have shouted some criticism of what he just said, and he retorted with that.
What, you're a history teacher? I don't give a fuck. because you don't know what it was really like. What is it really like? So if you'll kindly just shut up until the presentation is over. Yeah, that's better. Nervous glance towards the clock shuffle from the audience. Right. Where was I? Problems. We have a lot, and I do mean a lot of problems with this game. Accidents on the set, for example. This one turned out to be a blessing in disguise, actually. Jed, one of our FMV crew, actually lost his arm in a filming accident. We got the footage and digitized the lost arm as a possible accident consequence scenario. Actually, that lost arm turns up all over the place. As an in-joke, one of the pranksters in our imagery department placed it in random locations around the map, hidden under other objects. They probably will never see it, but they might recognize it subconsciously. This is taking David Cage games to the next level.
This is like, I'm not familiar with the term DOS games. DOS games. I'm not familiar.
Old computer games.
Yeah, basically.
Old shitty computer games.
Okay, so because when you're saying like
it's before you had Windows, it was MS DOS.
Because when you're saying when they're showing the camera, the camera work and stuff, I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat for some reason. You know how they had to do the animations.
That's
stuff?
FMV. That's
FMV.
what that is.
Motion.
Not really FMV, but it's similar style. But this seems incredibly advanced for a DOS game. But that was like the cutting edge technology in the early 90s. You had stuff like the King's Quest games and
like that's what's
like
just
the shitty Zelda PC games that they made. Yeah.
All right. See, we had a lot of trouble making sound effects that fit, but our sound director got the amazing buzzing sound. I have no clue what it's supposed to be. That plays whenever That plays whenever you mouse over the arm or a recently deceased group member, so that players associate it with death. And when you hear it, randomly around the map. Fuck. I wonder what they think of.
There's some spelling errors in grammar.
The compression artifacts where the blood splatters would make me laugh every time. We could never get rid of those. Jeez, lighten up. We got permission from Jed in the hospital to use the imagery.
Oh my god.
I've got no idea what you're so
fine.
I've got no idea what you're so fed up about. Sure, most of the staff walked off shortly after, claimed they were on strike, claimed they'd been working in abominable subhuman conditions, treated like walking meat. But guess what? We didn't need them anymore. You take a look at the scared, frightened faces in wilderness, and you see the real world.
Yeah, fuck you. Pejorative.
I says pejorative.
Yes, yeah.
If you think we'll just take another lawsuit lying down, that's why I'm here. And if you can't see how fucking brilliant my game is, then I'll fucking rip out your fucking face. We are. Okay.
We really need to make more clever things. Where they're giving us the option.
I wish I just added beeps whenever we said those words. But there's a lot of curse.
I want to go crazy, but I don't want to go too crazy. That's why I'm going mellow with the cursing. We fucking clear? Jesus, you're practically as ill-formed and doughy as the little pukes you call your children.
Fuck.
What a godlike plex. It's got godlike plex he has. Jesus. What was the point? I'll tell you what the point was. We put the player in a position where they can't win, where they have to be brutal, be real to... Wow, it sounds like Dark Souls.
Well, alright, let's... Hold on now.
Hyperventilation speakers see... Oh.
So I get... This is like a news report, I guess? Or these might be like notes somebody is taking about the press release.
Or it's just like... It's like notes to the reader, basically saying the speaker seems ashy and out of breath, or Bailey scratches his throat and neck.
I don't know. When I see that, it comes off as somebody in the audience writing down what's going on in the press conference.
That could be it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look. Any garbage you've been told about that is completely untrue. Nothing happens after you fail the game besides being told your details of your death and the actions of your party afterwards. There are no other levels, no other areas. There was a test version of Wilderness that was released to a few friends, a little joke, I guess a little haha, with some of the cut FMV footage, but there was absolutely no fucking way it found its way to your educational copies. They must be lying. What do you mean you've seen proof? Anyway, I'm telling you that there's absolutely no proof. That doesn't matter about the content in the brutal survival area, because we cut it from the children's copies. And even if we didn't, they need to see it. They need to see it with their eyes open. No more questions. I have nothing more to say. And that was Wilderness.
So this is interesting. I don't think telling this story in this perspective really does the story any favors. It starts out interesting, but I feel like the fact that this person at this press conference is replying to questions, but we don't know what really the questions are, is kind of fucking annoying. I get it. It's a choice stylistically, and maybe if we heard the questions, it would give too much away. But I don't like a first-person narrator yelling at people and then them replying, us not knowing the reply, and them yelling even more. Like, that doesn't work.
I guess
for
it's
me.
up to our imagination. I like I couldn't decide if I really like the story or not, and I'm leaning more towards that I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like I said before, these are things that we kind of take for granted in gaming now, where it has to be brutal, it's got to be realistic, there has to be, the decisions you make all matter, characters die, blah blah blah, and it seemed this is like such an advanced concept for 30 years ago, and people are shocked by it. So that's an interesting perspective on things. I like that part of it. I like this narrator guy thinking, whoever's holding this press conference thinking that, he, like you said, that there's a guy, they need to see the truth. It's real. It's all real. We got all this real shit. Like a fucking guy's arm. But then you also, and the thing that stuck out with me is, the sound when you find the arm in the environment, or when somebody dies, it makes a specific sound. A lot of fucking games do that. Senua is one of those games where there's a lot of repetition of or Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice, where there's a lot of repetition of sound. And so again, it's interesting to see the author, from what my interpretation is of the story, the author knows either video game design or plays a lot of video games and notices these things. And it's like, well, wouldn't it be funny if somebody tried to do it, way before everybody else was doing it? And what would that look like? And how would people react to that? And how extreme were they willing to go? Because I think this story starts out as one thing, and then it kind of jumps the ship a little bit when you get, oh, the guy lost his arm in an accident while we're filming. We used it in the game. That seems a little silly. Or a little out there.
The tone is weird. The tone is weird because it sounds like he's raving lunatic.
Yeah.
It sounds outrageous, and like that. For some reason, in my head, it clicks in. This would never fly after two sentences of him being an asshole. Would not fly, and they'd be like, "This press conference is over. Shut the door. That's it. Yeah, this guy's."
Well, I mean, if you're a reporter and you're trying to make a story. You let train wrecks go on, see if something to report about.
Right, and they're
no. That's not the problem I have. The problem is the guy who's talking. His own people from his own company would be taking him off, being like, "No, dude, what the hell are you doing?"
Right. I think he's the lead, though. I think he's. The
it might be, but there's still legality. Dylan's right. There's still people PR people that'd be like, "Can you fucking?"
He's be like, "I'm sorry. This is
right."
Yeah, like you said, reporters are like,
but they're
keep going. I'm gonna take this shit down.
I've read articles and I've watched videos about game designer in the '90s that were like this, like hotshot game design. Not necessarily this crazy, but what the fuck was I watching? There's stuff about John, the people that worked on the original Doom, Carmack and Romero. And how I think it's John Romero had that rock star mentality early on when he was working for it, I believe. So it seems like this author knows a lot about games and maybe even the history of game development. So it seems like they're putting a lot of it's very detailed and very interesting. And it seems like they're putting a lot of their knowledge and influence into it. It's very well informed. But yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. It comes off as like a raving lunatic. But again, it's what sounds like raving lunacy in the 90s is like a fucking developer now at E3 getting up in a fucking blazer and t-shirt and jeans and going, "Oh, this is the next step in gaming." Fucking.
Are you talking about the guy?
Yeah, all of them fucking did it. I hate that. That is the dumbest fashion style.
It's called It's called let's. He's doing it.
It's called Biz. It's called Biz Casual. this game is going to be the coolest fucking game ever. You're going to be able to have sex with any one of your crew members, and then they might hate you afterward. And all the realism, and people die, and these choices, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just funny to me that, we take all of that for granted. And that's a major selling point for a lot of games now. And back then, people were horrified by it. There's too real, but I
Some
understand.
companies are still horrified by it.
We get that twist at the end that it's like this. It wasn't. There was different copies meant for children, like Wilderness, like for children is like Oregon Trail, like it's the watered down version.
Yeah.
So I get why they're having a press conference. We get that at the very end.
Yeah, but you don't mention that at the end.
That's
the problem I have.
like it put at the end.
It seems like it.
It's just out of nowhere. It's like, okay, then we'll just out of nowhere. So why did you have this press conference? Oh, here's the reason why.
I agree.
You should have told me that before
It feels like it's tacked on at the end. Like this person wrote like this thing and went, oh shit, well why really are they having this press conference? Because it doesn't seem like we were talking about, it doesn't seem like a big deal, something like this now.
It's an M-rated game.
It sounds
I guess I can kind of see where you're going.
It seems like it's tacked on at the end.
It sounds like the author of this story, it's he or she's opinion on what's I don't know when this story was written, but it sounds like their opinion on the whole thing of video gaming being, oh, it's violent, it's this, this person's got a problem with
Hold on, no, the author of just because the author writes a story doesn't mean it reflects their opinion on video games.
And this person,
I always go, where did they get the idea from?
Well,
where's the idea stemming from?
Yeah, but I can come up with
an
Dylan, idea.
Like I said before,
we can't know that.
But like I said before, it's a broad judgment because it could be many things. This is like one idea.
We've talked about this before, but it's the difference of I see the difference of a writer and I see someone who wants to be a journalist, and you want the facts and the answers. You want to know. You're more focused on why this. You're more focused on why this author wrote like this.
There's a difference
between. And you're coming to a conclusion that this is how the actual person thinks. I disagree with you.
Right.
I don't think that's how that works.
There's a difference. It doesn't. There's a difference between authorial intent and us thinking, or us being, what's the inspiration? We can't really know what the inspiration is. We can guess, clearly video games and early 90s gaming, but we can't know why the author wrote this fucking story or why they wrote it the way they did.
Well, the only way,
again, I've written, I'm not going to get into details. I wrote a story about a McDonald's employee, and I wrote it because I wanted to. Not because I was necessarily inspired to. I had an idea for a horror story, and I wrote it down.
It's not just that. It's the fact that I look at this and I go, what's funny? And I look at him what's funny? I've kind of had this similar, just reading him, I've had this similar sort of conversation with other people, and that seemed to be this isn't okay. It's not okay for this, especially with video games, children playing games that are like this, and I don't know how that got in that or this and this.
But at the end of the day, the narrator in the story said, well, it shouldn't have been in there, but your kid should fucking see it anyway because it's real life. So what are you? I want to try to focus. Your idea is that the author, when writing this, is opposed to
kids playing these kinds of games.
Video games. Okay.
Yes.
Where are you pulling that from in the text?
In the text, it was when I first started. He was the holy shit. The
welcome to bachelor's degree level English class, Dylan. Where in the text you need to find me the proof, or where are you pulling it from?
Well, when we're first reading it, how he's discussing how the accusations of how the game are being, they're saying, they're accusing the game of being too real.
Right.
They're being way too real.
Okay.
And all that. And it's why are you kids playing the game? That's where I grab that. That's where I grab my... Okay. Sorry.
No, but this is what you have to do.
Well, yeah.
Again,
thanks for that, but that's
I'm sitting on a chair, sitting across from two individuals. One who is taking facts from the text, another person who's taking points and connecting dots.
It's not facts. It's It's
broad
interpretation
judgment. It's a broad
based
judgment.
on the contextual information, what we have in the text. Well, Dylan, in 3 years, when you get your degree, then you could sit here with a cap and gown, and you can tell me about literature and how you interpret things.
Literature. Well, I'm not an English major.
You are a literature. You write things and you read things and interpret them. You are an English major, whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not. The fact that it's steeped in factual information in journalism, you're still doing English.
True.
And I just happened to read Creepypasta.
I just was a general English major because I wanted to read, because I enjoy writing, and I wanted to read and understand the greatest or what is considered the greatest works of literature. And I'm still going through that fucking list 3 or 4 years after I graduated. But yeah, that's the biggest thing for me, Del. That's always been the biggest thing, and I think that's how I was trained, and that's how any college really will train you is, well, you think this, but if you can support it with whatever
facts.
you're reading in the no, not facts, whatever you're reading in the text, then fine. We just got real right now.
That's fine. I'll allow it.
No, but that's
Sustained.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I understand where you're coming from. I wanted to know where you were pulling it from, and I get it, and I see it. I understand what your interpretation is.
Like, if I were to use the same logic, Dylan, what do you think was the inspiration behind Pale Luna? Do you think the person is secretly, like, against video games because they're being used to, in a manipulative way, to kill someone? Or
confess a murder? Yeah.
Confess a murder?
Yeah.
No, that one just seems like they're really into crime shows. In my that one,
sure.
it's a short one.
It's fine.
It's a short one.
Yeah,
but
it's harder to
hard to pull that. But when
information.
you think of it, it seems like a crime show opening.
This is an unconventional story, but it is a story that's more.
That one's it's open to any possible. Like this is but this one too is still open to anything. Like I'm saying, it's just my interpretation of what I think of it based on what I've learned and I've seen there.
You're making?
I want to understand.
No, and
it's just a general judgment on
Listen,
from what I see.
You can interpret anything again as long as you support it with the text. Whatever you're pulling, where is it coming from, and if you make a solid argument.
Like there is no. How can you tell if there's no right or wrong answer unless the author tells you?
Right, they're the ones. Again, there technically isn't. Which is why you have to back it up.
But this is why I get annoyed with when they say, "Oh, this is what this book means." It's like, well, where's the actual author to tell me this? It's not.
Well,
tell me this.
But that's a very old school way of thinking about Dylan.
And different texts
really isn't important.
I think
anymore.
different texts and different, even like in music, I think different songs can mean something different to different people. And I think music's
music's a whole nother.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying
fascinating.
I'm saying literature is the same way. Some people like literature. Some people hate. Some people will read something and hate it. Some people will read it and like it.
Some people are proud that they don't read any fucking books, which absolutely baffles me, because you're missing out on the beauty of everything. Really, John's cringing a little bit.
Like you've read Huckleberry Finn, right?
A long time ago.
Yeah,
you're
in
probably...
high school, and we had one black kid in our class, and it was very awkward. Yeah, it was very awkward.
But you read Huckleberry Finn.
People are gonna hunt me down and fucking harass me after that one.
You have an interpretation of what you think that is. I have an interpretation of what that is. You have an interpretation of what that is. And then there's people saying, "Look, but this is what it is." But we don't know that, so we go based off of.
But again, this is what it is based on what I read in the text.
Yes,
that's college level shit.
Yeah, again, Dylan, you can pull anything out of a hat and say, this guy's multiple personality disorder. Maybe he goes home.
It's a dream sequence.
It's a dream. The guy's having a nightmare. Maybe it's a PR guy having... And then I woke up in a cold sweat.
Nothing
and I hugged my wife, and she made me waffles.
The first thing, the violence thing, the violence thing, I will give that to you because there's stuff to support that. The whole... Before he walks in is fucking banana batshit crazy. That I cannot agree with you on. That's absurd.
Well,
there's honestly, nothing in there to support that.
It was just a generalization from, many things watched and read.
Is it better for... I'm trying to decide this because I think Pale Luna was the better story of the two. I'm trying to decide if it's better if we have less to say, or if it's better that we have more to say.
I don't know. I don't think...
Because with the thing that stalks the fields, we had a ton to say.
I don't think Pale Luna is better than the story, because...
Really?
There's really...
It's too open-ended.
I mean, it's two different stories.
There's not much of a story in Pale Luna. There's not... It's straight. It's straight. There's nothing really to interpret. We talked about it for less than probably 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing really to it. It's very bare bones, like the thing that stalks... Well...
It gets its point across.
There's nothing to interpret in Pale Luna. It's not even... It doesn't even come off... It's like...
there's no...
facts. It's just facts. It's like...
Like, there's no debating that a child was found
dead.
And this is the longitude and latitude, and the game is telling us... The game is a confessional letter of murder.
Right, it's that. There's no way to not, you know what I mean? There's shit to
I guess
this,
the thing I like
we're talking about, you know...
I think a lot of people like Pale Luna because of the implications of it, though. Like, this person...
the implication.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's open-ended, so, like, at the end it's open-ended, so you can basically go, well...
Pale Luna?
Well, think about it. Oh, they never found him. And then you can add, like, another story, someone else... Well, it's open-ended because, you know, you can have someone else write a story like, oh, this said person was playing this... Also played this game. You know that story back, you know, because they've done it before in Creepypasta.
I'm sure someone has.
I don't know if it...
I think I'm using open-ended, right?
Yeah,
so
I don't know if that term necessarily... I understand what you're saying, but to me, open-ended in relation to that story is like... Well, it could have been anything. It could have been a killer. It could have been a game. I don't necessarily think open-ended is the right...
It's not the right
terminology
I'm like saying
use,
it like,
but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because you can go various routes on.
Right. You can continue that story in different... like a Cloverfield, if you will.
Yeah. But
shitty.
So like it's more continuous rather than open-ended. Yeah, continuous. It's more possibilities to add more stuff to it.
You can add to the lore, the Pale Luna lore.
Yeah. And we learned that you don't want to do that in creepypastas.
Yeah, well,
you generally don't.
You generally don't.
Unless if your name is Slime Beast, then it's fine. He's really good.
I know he is.
You can't see
He's
it,
been consistently good. Everything else we've read, it's hit or miss. He's been consistently good.
This is
and
true.
I miss him.
We
need to read another goddamn Slime Beast story. It's a palate cleanser. We read a bunch of bullshit, and then we go back to Slime Beast, and I feel renewed.
Yeah, but here's... this is nothing against Slime Beast, but what happens if we read one Slime Beast story and it doesn't pan out?
Oh, no. Well, then I just get angry at John. I just blame John for that.
There is one popular Slime Beast story that I actually do not like.
Oh, word.
Ooh.
So, maybe one day.
John
was
it friends.
No, you know what story it was? It was the story that won second place. It was Slime Beast.
Oh! What?
No, being a dick.
Okay.
The one Slime Beast story you don't like is the one that won second place in the Pokemon Creepypasta.
Answered that one.
I know, I'm just fucking around. Oh, man.
Next week, John versus friends. This Slime Beast one he doesn't like.
John.
Let's see if his friends agree.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I'm gonna put this at the end probably. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I didn't like Corruptus when I first read it, and I liked it after I read it with you guys.
Yeah, it's alright.
So
That's
maybe
cool.
it'll be that way. Alright, let's
get back to...
So final thoughts on either Pale Luna or on Wilderness.
Pale Luna was okay. Again, it very straightforward. I liked it for what it was. Not really much to discuss there. This, I thought, was interesting. I thought, narratively, it wasn't the best choice.
Wilderness I started talking about.
Yeah, Wilderness.
Yeah.
I feel like it stumbled a little bit. We stumbled over some stuff, because clearly the person who fucking wrote this did not proofread it.
I'm semi-stupid, so...
But no, it's not that. The person did not fucking proofread it. There was a bunch of spelling errors and typing mistakes. But I like that it comes off almost as like a parody. I'm pulling a little bit.
Yeah,
because of what we've been talking about.
I'm rubbing off on you.
But yeah, I guess so. I'd rather just have you rub me off.
I'm not doing that. I'm not Will.
John
I'm not gonna take a slap.
Just sitting back in his chair and confused and scared.
I'm not taking a slap hockey stick going up and down with my hand. Going...
Dylan?
Final thoughts.
Yeah. I kind of had the same as you, Dan. Just it was,
Like Pale Luna or
both for both, because I'm like, okay, it was it was interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this being the realm of journalism, I look at that and go, yeah, this guy's fucking nuts. Especially being in the environment before, I've seen it, just like, no,
just crazy people at press conferences.
Yeah, seeing a crazy person, I'm just like, no, this is not. No, I guess because I take things too realistic. That's why. But
can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Based on the fact that this is haunted gaming, what do you think? Do you give these authors credit for attempting to redo the mold a little bit? Because a lot of haunted gaming is like Strangled Red, where the horror is in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because just the term, I get that it's a blanket term like creepypasta, but haunted gaming, like, this isn't technically haunted games. It's in that same genre.
It's in the same genre,
right? So yes,
but would you give it a different genre? Because when I hear haunted gaming, I think of games. I'm just thinking of games that someone playing it and just something
there's a ghost in it,
crazy, or something scary happens,
or your Charizard dies and you cry while you're walking around the Cinnabar aisle and trying to get missing. No. Watch episode 16?
Oh, I don't know.
17?
It's like 18. I don't know.
Whatever. It's around there. Pokemon Strangled Red. Scary Friends podcast. No, like I said during Pale Luna, these stories work a lot fucking better where the game is almost the backstory or the setup and the conflict is in the real world. The game itself isn't the conflict. Or playing the game isn't necessarily the conflict. There are real world consequences in these stories' universes. Pokemon Strangled Red's a fucking kid playing Pokemon's room. Missing now. I lost my making it cry. And he turns it off, and that's it. There's nothing. It's fucking stupid. These little girl dies. She's murdered. They find her severed head. This is kids get all fucked up from watching a horrible video game that some fucking lunatic made that like caused people to get injured and hurt and potentially fatal accidents. That's real world shit. These are way more interesting than some asshole in his room playing a modded copy of Strangled Red going, I lost Mickey.
Oh,
way better.
Or that one that you showed us on YouTube.
Which one?
Oh, they used the Own Place? No. Oni Place?
Oh.
The one where he's
yeah.
Funny. Let's not get into the fucking Pokemon one.
Chris
I'm not
that was like a parody.
I'm just saying, I understand, but it's like...
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, nothing like that.
the game.
The game froze on me.
My family could barely even afford to buy gold.
I couldn't buy...
I want to watch that video again until I forgot we watched that.
Gold.
Alright, so my thoughts.
Yeah.
I really like Pale Luna a lot. And the reason why I like Pale Luna a lot is because it is simple and it's simplistic. And again, it's a good story to show. It's in the suggested readings for a reason, I think, because it establishes what the haunted gaming genre can be.
Yes.
And I've always been fascinated by haunted gaming, and I feel like when people, I can appreciate stories that that are unique and try something different. And I think Pale Luna, the idea of confession of murder through video game, and nutjob scarring kids through video game. And both of those concepts to me are unique. And trust me, in creepypastas, I know I haven't shown you guys a lot of haunted gaming, but there's a reason for that, because a lot of it's the same. Much like the Pokemon games themselves, there isn't much difference between the Pokemon games and the Pokemon creepypasta games, because ultimately it ends with some kid getting fucked up from the Lavender Town theme, or Pokemon, what was the one, like Frozen Silver. He he gets like, you know the part in Pokemon Silver where you go on the mountain to fight Red. Dylan, you probably know this more than Dan.
I know nothing.
In Pokemon Silver, you go to the top of Mount Moon to fight Red.
Yes.
Well, in this, there's a creepypasta where you get stuck on the mountain and you freeze to death.
No, not not Mount Moon. It's not Mount Moon. It's the one.
Fucking stupid.
Your character
It's like that damn. It's like that Family Guy.
Any haunted gaming where the player character in the game dies and that's the horror is fucking stupid, because it has no real world. There's no direct threat to the narrator or the person playing the game. So there's no stakes.
Yeah.
We talked about this in the other one, Candle Cove, where it's a bunch of old people remembering a weird show from when they're kids, but there's no stakes in the story. There's no direct threat to the main character in the story. It's stupid.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about all we can say. This has been 2 haunted gaming ratings.
Shut up! God damn it! We had to throw it in there. Nate's coming
Whatever.
in like an hour.
It's the end of the story. It's the end of the story. So yes, if you did like it, please. I do appreciate your comments. So please comment on the video.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to subscribe to hear more of our stuff, it is the best way of doing it. I'll even say hit the bell icon if you really want to.
What's the bell icon?
Oh, so you can get
because YouTube subscription is shit.
Oh, we're going next level shit.
Oh yeah.
So this has been Scary Friends, and I've been Skillfully. So join us next time for another thrilling episode of Scary Friends. Hopefully there'll be more friends involved. But this has been me, Dan, and Dylan, and we are signing out.
Night.
Stay safe, everybody.